Most market crashes are loud. This one is happening quietly, and it starts in India. In the earlier parts of this series, we uncovered a story that most of the world isn't paying attention to yet. We saw how India quietly became the world's largest physical consumer of silver. We saw imports explode, 4 times higher in a single month. We saw buying continue even at record-high prices, and we saw how that demand drained vaults from Dubai to London to New York. But all of that leads to a far more important question. Why does this matter so much? Why are analysts, miners, and traders now using the same phrase again and again? India is the driver. In this final part, we move beyond observation and reach the conclusion. We will see why India has become the marginal buyer, the force that moves prices when supply is tight. And we will explore what this means for the future of silver itself, not next month, not next year, but for the decade ahead. Because this story is no longer just about silver. It is about what happens to a global market when demand becomes cultural, industrial, and structural, all at once. At this point, when you trace the movement of silver across continents, when you watch inventories rise and fall, when you study the price reactions in London, New York, Shanghai, and Dubai, a pattern emerges so clearly, so unmistakably, that even the most seasoned analysts have stopped doubting it. India isn't just part of the silver market. India is steering it. Look at the evidence. India is the largest physical consumer of silver on Earth. India buys real metal, not digital promises. India imported 4 times more silver in a single month, a shock that reverberated through every major market. India buys even at all-time high prices, defying classical economic theory. India pays the highest premiums globally when inventories tighten. India drained vaults in London, New York, China, and Dubai simultaneously. India's industrial sector is expanding at unprecedented speed: solar, electronics, EVs. India's population buys silver during festivals and weddings regardless of price. And India is doing all this during a period where the world is already facing 5 consecutive years of structural silver deficits. This is not random. This is not seasonal. This is not hype. This is structural leadership in physical demand. And that is precisely why industry veterans like Phil Baker, former head of one of America's largest silver producers, say it as plainly as possible. India is the driver. That is literally it. He didn't say a driver. He didn't say one of the drivers. He said the driver. Because in commodity economics, the most important player is not the biggest consumer on paper, but the one who tips the balance when supply is tight. The marginal buyer. The buyer whose arrival makes the price move. The buyer whose demand breaks the equilibrium. The buyer whose decisions force the global market to bend. And today, in silver, that marginal buyer is India. When India buys aggressively, the world runs out of metal. When India slows, global pressure suddenly eases. This is no longer speculation. This is observable reality, playing out in real time across global vaults. So what does all of this mean for the future? It means silver is no longer just a metal. It is a conductor of electricity, of energy, and now, of global economic tension. Because every time India increases its demand, that tension travels thousands of kilometers straight into the heart of the global supply chain. India's rise is not temporary. It is not seasonal. It is not a one-year spike. It is powered by deep cultural traditions, surging industrial requirements, a growing middle class, a generational shift in wealth, and a national preference for physical metal over speculation. And unless global mine production rises, and experts say that may not happen until 2035, India will continue shaping the silver market in ways the world has never seen before. So the next time you hear that, London is facing a silver shortage. New York premiums are rising. Shanghai shipments are accelerating. Remember this: the real story may have begun thousands of kilometers away, in a country where silver is not only an investment, but a tradition, a technology, a safeguard, and an identity. And that country is India. Thank you for joining me on this journey. I'm Professor Edmund Hallberg, and as always, stay curious.